Okay, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Milford Board of Selectmen for May 11th, 2015. The first item that we have is the signing of the warrant.
Motion.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. We have meeting minutes for our April 27th, 2015 meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Before we get to the body of the agenda, I would first like to take the opportunity to welcome some very special guests who I think did a great thing for the town of Milford a few weeks ago, and that's the citizens of Milford. And I was so pleased when I got the correspondence back in March informing me about the plans for a Milford Beautification Day, which was held on Saturday, April 25th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I went down there at the Sacred Heart parking lot. I was so impressed at how organized it was. You obviously had a lot of people involved. And I was with the town administrator. We got our assignments. I was a little nervous when I was told to go to Treadle Drive and clean up the guy's house. Actually, we got assigned to Water Street, and we just had a great time doing it. And of course, I have here the citizens of Milford. We have the two co-chairs, Steve Treadle, John Seba, and you have a number of your volunteers and coordinators with you. So, gentlemen, let me turn it over to you, and why don't you tell us a little bit about how this came about and how it got put together.
Well, thank you, Chairman, and thanks for showing up, and the town administrator for showing up. The person that did all the work is sitting right here to my left, Amy Sanborn. I mean, she came up with the idea, and she really did all the implementation and all the planning and all the follow through. She did a fantastic job. And Amy, why don't you just take right over?
Sure. The idea came about, I go around my own neighborhood once a week and I clean up trash.
And where is that, Amy?
I live up in Virginia Drive, and I'm just amazed and upset about how much trash every single week is there. So I pick it up, and it was kind of a joke. I would tell at the core group meetings at Citizens for Milford I was picking up trash. We talked about some events that we wanted to do in the future, and I said, let's do a cleanup day for Milford. So we decided in April, and we teamed up with the Farmers Market, Jen DeMonchion, and we decided to do this in April, and we had so much support from so many different boards. We had Republic Services, who are Waste Management, gave a generous donation, and that helped us to purchase the bags and Gatorade and gloves, and they gave a lot of donations, and we bought, Dunkin' Donuts coffee. People had coffee when they first came. It was a very cold morning.
T-shirts.
Pardon me?
T-shirts.
T-shirts were given out. We had the Worcester County Sheriff's Department had some inmates come the Thursday and Friday before, and they picked up trash on Dilla Street and Route 85, and did a great job. And we heard so many compliments from people saying how great it looked. We also that day had St. Mary's, a confirmation class. We had some Girl Scouts doing a light bulb recycling. We had some selectmen and the administrator. We had the Board of Health. We had Milford Trail, and we also had some help from the Highway Department. So I'd like to thank all of them. I would also like to thank the group. I had so much help with this endeavor, and it was wonderful. And I would also like to thank all the volunteers that showed up that day and grabbed a bag, grabbed gloves, and took their place where they were going to go in town and picked up trash. It was a really great day.
It really was. Do you have an idea as to how many bags total that you wound up with?
Well over 200.
Really? That's what I
Yes.
figured. And do you know how many streets? Because I know when I got there, you had the spreadsheet of all the streets. How many streets had you targeted? Do you know?
Originally, we were going to do just the downtown area, and then we decided with a number of people that came within like 35 minutes. The first 35 minutes was just crazy. It was awesome. And we just sent people out to different areas, and I think it had to have been at least 20 streets. You know, just all over town. And what was
Wonderful.
great was once they were done with the trash, they just left it there. They called or texted Jen to say where the trash was. And we had 4 or 5 people volunteering with pickup trucks that went out and picked up the trash and brought it to the transfer station. And the gentlemen there were great. They were just, couldn't believe how much trash we were bringing in. We had, you know, a box spring, mattress. We had about 5 TVs, all bags of trash. It was just,
It's amazing.
It was
It really
amazing.
is amazing. You know, beyond the tangible result of a much cleaner downtown, and really beyond that, I think what your group did, and I hope to try to expound on that, and I hope it continues, is I believe you created a greater awareness throughout the community of just the trash and the litter problem that there is. You know, I know when Rick and I were walking up and down Water Street, I understand things that go on the parking, on the sidewalk and the parking spaces. You know, but when the trash goes into your yard, into people's yards, I mean, it doesn't take much to go and just get it and pick it up. Okay, you didn't put it there, I know you didn't put it there, you know, but it's in your yard, it's there, you know, pick it up and dispose of it. So, you know, you had a great team, you know, throughout the town. I was really happy to be a part of it. I was so pleased that you invited me. Had a lot of fun. And before you go, we have a citation to give you. As an official thanks from the Board of Selectmen. Be it known that the Board of Selectmen hereby offer their congratulations to the citizens for Milford in recognition of your dedication and commitment to enhancing the beauty of our town on Milford Beautification Day, which I hope would become an annual event. On behalf of the people of Milford, the Selectmen extend their very best wishes and express the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors, given this 11th day of May 2015, William E. Kincaid Jr., William D. Buckley, and Brian Murray, Chairman.
thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Do I give it to you, who did all the work, or John, who likes to get the credit? Now, here's my mother wanting to know why it's on TV. I told you. She's the only one that watches. Before you leave, I know your group also did a wonderful police thank you day. And I wanted to just bring your attention that this Sunday, we're going to be having our annual police memorial. The 17th, I believe it's 9 o'clock? Is that 9 o'clock? And it's at the station. We've been doing it for a number of years. I think it's a great tradition in the town of Milford. It's just an opportunity to take a pause, take a little bit of time to think about, you know, the 2 officers that we've lost in the town of Milford in the line of duty, and also recognize the officers for what they do on a daily basis. So certainly, you know, extend an invitation to your group to be there. I think you'll really enjoy it there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.
Great work.
Thank you.
Invitation to speak. Is there anyone in the audience not on the agenda who would like to address the board? Not seeing anyone. Why don't we move on? And the item that we have now is Consigli Construction, Inc. It's the furtherance in terms of discussions of the letter of intent for the TIF agreement. So, folks, come on down. We were presented with a proposed TIF agreement on April 30th, and then it was revised on May 6th, and we received that revision. The only substantive change, I think, was the indication from prior stating 130 full-time jobs to 329 full-time jobs. So with that, let me turn it over to your group, and is there anything that you want to tell us or add about the agreement?
Well, no, actually, the agreement, you know, we're hoping that you look favorably at the agreement. It's basically almost a duplicate of the agreement that was approved back in 2004. So the state has had some legislative changes, so we just wanted to update to make sure that all of the language is in compliance with the state law.
And we have a special town meeting scheduled within the annual town meeting on May 18th to basically address this issue. And this agreement obviously is contingent upon town meeting approval. So with that, let me turn it over to the board. Bill?
I'm very pleased with the agreement. I'm happy to be part of this arrangement, and having voted in favor of the math that's behind this. The additional details essentially codify what we've already talked about, what you've represented here in front of this board, so I'm happy to speak favorably and get in front of this when it comes to town meeting.
Bill?
I'll pretty much echo that. This is a pleasure to be a part of doing business with you folks and keeping you here in Milford and letting you grow here. So thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like 3 in favor of the agreement. You know, in terms of executing the agreement, I suppose it's 6 here, half a dozen there, because it is contingent upon town meeting approval. However, you know, I would prefer, I think, that we sign it now. It provides a level of certainty and definiteness for the town meeting members to look at, so they know in terms of the detail what exactly they'd be asked to vote on. So if you have the originals, I'd be glad to sign it.
We have 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got one.
That's great. The only thing I might need is a pen. Thank you.
And thank you very much. We appreciate your support.
That's okay. Yeah, that's right. I don't think I'll need a pen after you leave. Okay, do you want to take these back?
Sure.
So,
You're gonna need, you're gonna need.
well, I think,
First, we
I
have
think,
to have sign.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Will needs to
Yeah,
sign.
Will needs to sign that one. Yeah, so I think that we should have it executed on behalf of Consigli, and then we'll have, you know, at least one in our office. Here's this one. I think you got all 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Today's the 11th. May 11th.
If you can't get out of signing things even.
Nope, that's okay. That's okay. That's comes with the territory.
Here's the executed.
Okay, I'll give that to the town administrator.
Thank you.
Okay, that's wonderful. Yeah, so as long as we have at least one,
Okay.
you know, I think that's fine. So like I said, you know, now as we go forward to town meeting, you know, I don't know what some of the members might ask, but, you know, if there is questions about the details, we have the agreement. You know, and of course, it is contingent upon town meeting approval, but the details are now addressed.
Right. Well, what we would hope to do, starting tomorrow, is to reach out to the town administrator, to Rick, and the appropriate board members to talk about, you know, the actual format.
Mechanical.
Exactly.
Sure, sure,
Right.
sure.
Any handouts, you know, the handout that we've given you in the past, the one
Yeah,
pager.
yeah, yeah. Well, you can contact Rick, set up a
Okay.
time, and we can have some discussions
also
and
have-
see what the best way is to approach it.
Yeah, they also have town meeting members' addresses, should you be so inclined as to want to communicate it to them directly.
Okay.
Okay.
Might be a little tight,
It might be, yeah.
you know, because it's a week from tonight.
Right.
But, yeah, we can certainly, you know, see, you know, the best way to present this.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's very encouraging from our perspective. hopefully it's encouraging on your perspective. And
It's an exciting project. We're happy to
Yeah.
be building in Milford and
Yeah.
supporting the community, and we thank you for your support. It's a pleasure doing business here in Milford.
Well, you've earned it as well, so don't let that be lost.
That's great.
Great company.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
So we're optimistic and on to town meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a good night.
thank you.
Good night.
Yeah, bye-bye.
That concludes the scheduled appointments. The next item is the town administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to follow up on the disaster declaration for the blizzard. As you know, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts received a major disaster declaration making federal funding available under FEMA's public assistance program as a result of the January blizzards. Public assistance will be made available to local governments for emergency work and permanent repair and replacement of facilities damaged as a result of the blizzard. Fire Chief Tui and Finance Director Zachary Taylor did attend the FEMA applicant briefings last week to help explain the reimbursement process for receiving federal funds for eligible expenses incurred as a result of this severe storm. Today, Fire Chief Tui, Highway Surveyor Scott Christopher Lee, and myself met with 2 project specialists from FEMA for a kickoff meeting to begin the application process. We will be required to select a 48-hour period when the town had the greatest expense due to the storms. In addition, we can seek reimbursement for protective measures outside that 48-hour period. Protective measures include use of equipment and overtime to clear the fire hydrants, as well as the expense of having the library roof shoveled. We will be meeting with the FEMA representatives again this week to complete the application for reimbursement. On that process, I want to thank Scott and Zach and Chief Tui for their hard work in putting this together. Just an updating now on the senior center. The patio and brick repair work is being done at the senior center. I expect it to be completed in the next day or so, and that will be a completed project by the end of the week. Update on Milford Pond. The dredge is in the water at the boat ramp. They will be replacing the turbidity curtain, which is used to contain and control the silt, and the spillway flashboards, which are used to provide controlled release of water. I will be getting, from this point forward, monthly updates as the work progresses. One final note, I want to thank Selectman Kincaid, Town Engineer Vonnie Reese, and State Representative Fernandez. We attended a hearing on April 30th with the Boston Region Metropolitan Planning Organization at the State Transportation Building in Boston to discuss the Route 16 reconstruction project. Both Selectman Kincaid and Town Engineer Reese, as well as State Representative Fernandez, stressed the importance of the project to the town and advocated for the funding through the Transportation Improvement Plan. Both Senator Fatman and Representative Fernandez also provided letters of support for the project, so I want to thank them for attending. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Questions, Bill?
Just a comment, it's incredibly powerful when those hearings go on, that our state representatives, state senator, town engineer, selectmen are present. Very rarely when towns are looking for funding, do they do anything more than provide a letter, and sometimes somebody shows up. But it was great to see and hear from you, not see, but hear from you, the contingent we had, letting them know how serious and how important it was. So good to hear, and good start. It's nice that you have the contacts and know some of the people, and look forward to more of that. Thank you.
Will?
No, I'll just add, I appreciate you, Rick, you guys coming in. I work in the building, so it was pretty simple for me. I had no excuse not to walk down 2 flights of stairs. But we did get, it was interesting speaking before 3 or 4 of my colleagues sitting around that table. And having John there was invaluable, because even with Chairman Moeller and everything, he really expressed the importance of, Bill, what you just said about people being there, the town administrator traveling in, making an effort to make their case, because most towns did not. So there was a few of us. So thank you, Rick. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Very good. Good. Moving on to old business, we have correspondence from Town Engineer Vonnie Reese indicating that Ed Ross submitted an application to be a member of the Conservation Commission. There is currently an opening. He attended the meeting on April 16th and was interviewed by the commission. All members agreed to accept his offer to serve on the commission. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair.
I'd
Motion
be
made.
happy to second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. I asked Rick to put on the agenda the special town meeting warrant. All it has is the Consigli construction TIF, but also a transfer article from some old CDBG funding articles to try to bring it current, to see if there's a potentiality for a current CDBG, or I guess any type of grant that might benefit Main Street. So that'll just be really a transfer of funds. So I didn't know if you wanted any more discussion on that. And then also on the annual town meeting warrant, that's here too. You know, we actually acted on all of the articles that we're presenting. I don't know if either of you feel the need to talk about any of them or have any questions about either of those, or you know, any being submitted by any other agency. But it's really just kind of a last shot at the town meeting if there's anything you think we need to do. So, Bill, any?
No questions. Everything's pretty straightforward. We've prepared for this for months. So, no, I don't have any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Will?
No, I think I'm all set. I was initially going to ask about the capital improvement committee, because I know that the moderator made an appointment as well. But I just didn't know if at some point, maybe even if it's at least this year, maybe we can have a conversation about the future of the CIC, because there's always seems to be conversation of, you know, we have a subgroup of a subcommittee of the FinCom doing not the same thing, but some similar things. And, you know, I was just on the FinCom for a short time, but I got to see the inner workings of that. Obviously, I've worked in the past with the CIC from a school committee point of view, as you gentlemen have. I just didn't know if, just being my colleagues, if there's thoughts out there of going in a different direction, or quite honestly staying in the same direction. And I can probably argue for either, but.
Well, I mean, you raise a good point in the sense that there is an article on the warrant for the annual Article 30, sponsored by the CIC, to amend their bylaws. And I didn't know if we wanted to take a position on that or not. I think the Finance Committee essentially deferred to sponsor on that.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, they deferred to sponsor. Basically, if, you know, they feel that the capital improvement needs to clean their house by making these changes, I don't think that they were going to interfere with that.
I know it's late in the game, but
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. You know, personally, I didn't think there was anything wrong with the old bylaw, other than the fact that it wasn't followed. So I'm not real sure how the new bylaw is going to change things, but.
That's exactly my opinion,
hit
Mr.
the nail on
Chairman.
the head.
You know.
I didn't see anything in there that would get information out to town meeting earlier to make them, or to help them make more informed decision. I think, you know, it's largely window dressing much of the changes. If the last one charter wasn't followed, I'm not sure how these bylaws are going to change anything. I remain optimistic, but skeptical at the same time.
So I guess the question is, does the board want to take a position on this article? I mean, I don't, you know, we don't have to. It's for consideration by the town meeting. I don't have any strong feelings one way or the other. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with the other bylaw, other than that, you know, it was ignored. But, you know.
No, I agree, and I feel like I'm obviously bringing this up late in the game, but,
No,
you
it's
know,
all
so I
right.
mean,
That's
I
why-
certainly don't,
That's why we have it on, that's all right.
you know, I certainly don't feel like I have to necessarily make a motion to not support it, and just, or support it, for that matter. Yeah, I'm more comfortable, you know, like, I guess, just leaving it as it is, but, I just didn't know if, again, because if they do fall under, well, partially under our purview, if, you know, we had, you know, if we somehow, however that happens at a meeting like this, that we can have a conversation about the future.
Well, you know, let me say this. You know, why don't we see what town meeting does in this article?
Okay.
And then maybe, depending on how that goes, you know, there might be a time period to see how the capital improvement committee responds. And then, you know, maybe there's an opportunity for this board to take a look at it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just hope we do that, Mr. Chairman, before more people get invested, more appointments are made. You know, so that would be, I'd hope we take it up earlier, because if we're gonna continue to go in the same direction, some things need to change.
Well, let me put it this way. If it gets defeated, I would anticipate.
Yeah, that's true.
I would anticipate it addressed, I tried to be a little
Yeah,
subtle, but
subtle.
now, if it gets defeated, I would anticipate addressing it sooner rather than later. If it gets approved, to me, that's at least a showing that the town meeting would like to give this group an opportunity. And then the summer months would be an opportunity to see, to show their stuff.
Because in all honesty, I think if you were to poll the town meeting body and to ask them what the CIC does, or how much information they've used from the CIC in order to make their decisions, I think you would be lucky to find 10 people. So,
Yeah, that certainly may be the case, but, I guess let's give them the benefit of the doubt, I
Sure.
suppose, for Monday night, and then, see what happens, and then I would say act accordingly. And again, if there are any articles that either of you, would really like to present, just email that to Rick, because I'm gonna have to get together with him this week to assign the articles.
Okay, and yeah, if I could, with that, because I've been thinking a lot about that, and I think it's, how, to be honest with you, again, being a low guy in the totem pole, however it works out, it works out. But I think, at some point, I would just like to also chat with you guys about how, I've been a town meeting member since I was 18 years old, but I've never been on this side of the podium before, so I at least
Yeah.
would probably just have some formal questions for you folks about the mechanics
Sure.
of it as well.
Sure.
I'm sure we can do that offline, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Generally, we'll assign articles, and the town administrator puts together a summary
Okay.
of the articles that you're assigned, and then you would pick it up, Friday or whatever, just like you get your regular package.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
But again, like I said, if there's anything that you really feel, a burning desire to, that you'd like to have your hands on, get it to Rick, and I'll see if we can do that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other old business? Bill, do you have any old business?
Yeah, I just wanted to see, I wanted to loop back to task force and see if there was anything new that the town administrator had. I know there's some activity that's been going on, and I'm gonna be asking periodically for updates anyway. I just thought I'd-
Yeah, I can give you a brief update.
Please.
Sure. I did speak with John on 2 occasions to review the process. I did go out and actually walk a couple of weeks ago. Just I wanted to get a first-hand feel as to what the process is, what they look for. The Board of Health agent was with us, fire department personnel was with us, and someone from the police department was with us, so we did do that. I gave him some ideas on how I'd like to see the reports prepared, so we'll be doing that on a monthly basis. I have also met with the people who handle our website. They are putting together and have put together a design as to how that website can be established and set up. They're giving me an estimated cost as well as a monthly cost as to what it would be, which would not be a significant monthly cost.
I would anticipate it being an extra email account.
It's about $10, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
per month, so it is minuscule in that sense. There's a one-time cost,
Sure,
less
set it up.
than $2,000. So we are putting that together. My plan was to, when the chairman of the board agrees, with one of the meetings in June, to actually come forward with everything that we have put together thus far and an initial report on the initial walkthrough and then the plan going forward. So that's what we've done pretty much to date.
And did I hear you say there'll be monthly reports?
I am going to advocate for monthly reports.
It's your call.
Yeah. In other words,
So I just-
they're meeting weekly, so I don't see why that can't be
Yeah.
established. I mean, if there was some reason that they didn't meet, for example, then the report might be not as great as the prior report, but I don't want to bring this up, but kind of like we've done for double polls, those reports will be coming again by the way they finally established that. Probably shouldn't have brought that up. But somewhere along the lines, that's, my plan is to have a monthly report for the board to look at, and then you can be pretty much in the loop. As to-
Yeah, it'd be good
as
to
what
know.
they're doing, where they're doing it, and what the results are.
And I don't want to belabor the point. I think, I'm not sure, we can look at a lot of different things, a lot of different things cross our desk. I'm not sure that any aspect of our government is more important than this task force in the sense that this is what's affecting people's quality of life. And as we know, and as you know, as soon as we let off on enforcement, The next thing we'll see are the same properties going into decline and repeat instances where it just seems to go cyclical. So, and I know John's dealt with that a great deal. But staying on top of that and the Board of Selectmen being able to talk to constituents about what we're doing, where we're going. I know that it declined in some past months. I want to make sure that just stays active, and the only way I can do that, I think this board can do that, is to get monthly activity reports, so that's fine.
That's the plan.
On a different note, I'm wondering, I said I would ask every meeting, let it go the last two, with respect to the IT activity. I know that at one point in January, we had talked about expending about $32,000 for some servers and some routers and switch hardware. Did that ever get expended? Did that activity ever get completed?
That didn't get expended, but the budget has now been approved, $55,000 for the bandwidth for the high school. So that is actually going to be done over the summer, and that is ready to proceed. We also need to purchase 2 servers in conjunction with that bandwidth work for these schools that will service all of the schools. That money is now in the budget. Will also be done over the summer. Some additional backup work will also be done over the summer for the schools. All that money has been budgeted in the 155 selectmen budget. In addition, there's an additional sum of money that has been budgeted for town hall. We'll be increasing the speed here of our computer system. We'll also be dealing with improving the Wi-Fi. The hope is to have both a guest and a in-house Wi-Fi upgrade here in Town Hall, and we also have in the budget to do some work at the senior center and the highway. Minor work, but work that can be done to enhance IT here. So all that I'm expecting will be done over the summer.
Rick, do we know what happened with that $32,000 that from this fiscal year, not next year's appropriation that we're looking for in town meeting, but what happened with that $32,000 that I know Paul had talked about expending to get some things started?
That was, part of that was used for the Wally mapping, but it was not the full 32.
Okay.
But part of that was used for the mapping that was done by Wally computer.
Okay, I guess I'm looking forward to a consistent, cohesive plan that can be executed and.
Yeah, we're going to have monthly subcommittee meetings with a number of individuals to hopefully plan and have everybody on the same page so that plan can be.
And how did that membership for that subcommittee come about?
The initial subcommittee was myself, Chris Warren from the FinCom, Bob Tremblay, for lack of a better word, a civilian, Carlos Lazard, who helped us. In addition, now what we're doing is adding 2 FinCom members and also our IT people to have a monthly meeting. We're going to start it, don't hold me to the date, but I think it's May 27th, if that's a Wednesday. We'll be starting that to go through so that we can have, hopefully this board, FinCom, school committee, and everybody on the same page with the IT plan.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, this discussion is one that we've had quite frequently. I know you've been on top of it. I've been on top of it. FinCom's been on top of it. But maybe there's an opportunity to formalize this subcommittee to keep it focused and to have those appointments come through us, so that as different people represent, they have a particular interest. We have a fair amount of citizens who are IT professionals in their own right, in private sector or within schools. I'm just wondering if there's a way to give this greater stature, greater awareness, and get updates from those subcommittees every 6 months or so. But at least create an ad hoc committee like we have for multiple functions that the selectmen have charge over. Maybe there's a way to formalize this. Maybe there's a way to bring others in. I don't know you know, at some point, committee size can be unwieldy too.
My only concern would be,
Yeah.
with all due
No.
respect, the size of a committee like that, because our IT director is going to, should be leading it, but I do want the input, and I think it's most important to get all our boards, as you just said, involved and working on this together.
Maybe we can work on that, maybe the various members of the board can consider, you know, what that membership ought to look like. And if you have any suggestions as to what number becomes sufficient and what number is unwieldy, let us know. Maybe there's a way to formalize this. We can talk about that in another meeting, but I do want to make sure that, you know, IT is an active part of our rolling agenda. It's not a every meeting discussion, but I'll ask for it in old business. And I appreciate those monthly task force reports. I'm looking forward to those. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman, with regard to old business.
Okay, yeah, we can revisit to the, I remember when I first got on, we put together a technology task force, which consisted essentially of some town hall employees, and then also, I think it might have been 2 or 3 disinterested members of the community to try to, you know, establish what now seems like ancient history, but that was the genesis of things that happened.
Some of those same servers are still here.
Well, maybe they did a good job, I guess, I don't know, you know?
All right.
But yeah, you can look at the same kind of format, and after the town meeting, that's something you want to formalize, we can do.
We have live video now.
All right, great. Well, welcome. For those viewers tuning in who are not watching Tom Brady and the Patriots, we had a delay, but I guess we're now live. So, Will, did you have any items under old business you want to talk about?
No, thank you.
Moving on to new business, we do have an item of correspondence that I suppose went with the last items. And it's just a report from the financial team in terms of the funding directives for the various town meeting articles. This is not so much of an issue in the spring as it is in the fall, but I think everyone did a nice job in terms of utilizing the free cash on the table, looking at existing levy capacity of approximately 4.7 million, and still going into the fall with an estimated excess levy capacity of 3.8 million, in addition to the 820,000 snow and ice deficit to be raised. There's an earmarked stabilization of 500,000. Targeted levy relief is 1.8 million, and that still leaves an estimated excess levy capacity for the special town meeting of over $700,000. So I think the finance committee, I think our financial professionals did a extremely good job in strategically targeting the articles that need to be funded and funding it in the most opportune method. So, I don't know if you have any comment or question about any of these. Okay, moving on, we have an appointment to recognize. This is actually coming from the town moderator, Mike Nofrey, and he appointed James Buckley to fill the vacancy on the Capital Improvement Committee. So I guess that's just for our information. We have a request from the Department of Veteran Services for the Memorial Day Parade, May 25th, 2015, assembles at 9:30 a.m. at the Stop and Shop parking lot, and stepping off at 10 a.m., proceeding up East Main Street and Calzone Park, and then on to Draper Park for the ceremony.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to move to approve.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. I do have an item under new business I'd like to raise. I don't know if either of you have been getting contact, but I've gotten contact from 2 school employees urging us to vote on the early retirement incentive. Now, you know, if we were Governor Baker, we could do that. But, you know, this is not a municipal early retirement package in any way, shape, or form. It's geared totally to state employees. There is nothing for us to make any decisions on, nothing for the school committee to make any decisions on. So the town employees that have been looking into this need to realize that. And I just wanted to bring that up at the public meeting, so hopefully folks can understand that.
Mr. Chairman, along those lines, I've been contacted by some of the, probably the same people. I think where the confusion arose is that in past early retirement programs that were enacted through special legislation, that there either was an opt-in or municipalities were included. And this is from my discussions with Jerry, because Jerry brought me up to speed with the history, and that this particular legislation does not include, as you said, any municipal options at all. It's strictly state employees.
And I don't know if you got contacted at all, Will, but yeah, just so everyone's clear, there's really nothing here for us to do. Do you have any new business, Bill?
No new business, Mr. Chairman.
Will?
Yes. I was hoping that at some point too, we could have the town clerk come in. I'd like to have a conversation, if I could, or if we could. One thing I noticed, and it happened on that long rainy election day, was, for example, there were a lot of folks coming up to me and talking about, mostly at the Portuguese Club, some of the Italian vets, and a few at the senior center, but those was the same folks. People that even live up in Prospect Heights and in Upper Water Street have to travel to the senior center to vote. Some of them two actually that I spoke to live directly next door to the Portuguese Club, in the old Portuguese Club, except they have to get in their cars and drive to the senior centers to vote. And I think it'd just be good, because so many people were talking about that maybe being on a live meeting, Amy could explain, because I know there's certain, there has to be a census done to change precinct lines and things like that, but as long as precincts abut, they can be in the same place. I think, it may just be that, we try to keep 4, 5, 6, 7 in a certain precinct because it's chronological, when if maybe 3 and 7 abut, they should be closer. It's just especially when you're dealing with some elderly folks that literally get out of their front doors and have to drive by the polling place, or in some cases walk by a polling place to get in their car to drive across. I'm sure there's a reason for that, but I think maybe her being here, she can explain it at a public meeting, and I think that'd probably be best for everyone.
Why don't we ask the town clerk, maybe sometime in June, Rick, I'm not sure what we've got scheduled. See if
First
we
and
can-
15th. Check to see which
Yeah,
one
see,
would
see,
be better.
see what might work best for her, we can have her come in.
Okay. I think it should come from Amy. She's the expert.
Yeah, I remember when she did the redistricting after the 2010 census and went to the 8 precincts and all that sort of thing, yeah.
Well, that's what I was explaining to people, that is really a big deal. It's a lot of work.
Oh.
And,
It
this
was.
is not certainly something I would want to take on. But maybe there's something that, that I don't know about, that we can get, a couple precincts that they may not be chronologically in order, but they abut, and it makes more sense for them to, maybe to be located
Yeah,
somewhere else.
we can have her come in and, ask her to make a presentation.
All right.
Sure.
No, I'd like that. And it may be that she just has to sit here and explain why I'm completely wrong, and that's okay too, but at least that way we'll have some answers.
Yeah, I
for
don't know
some
the
folks.
answer. That's a good question.
So,
Well, yeah, I don't think it's a question of right or wrong, it's just a question of what, what the system is.
Okay.
Yeah.
and then my other, I guess, looking for some education is when we're dealing with Mike Nofri's appointment and with our appointment to the Conservation Commission. Rick, you and I had an impromptu conversation a couple weeks ago on the staircase, but I was wondering if I could get a list of all the boards and committees that the Board of Selectmen are actually responsible for. I think I know based on past annual reports, but I'd rather just have, whether it's a 1 or 2 pager from you, who the memberships are and when their terms are expiring.
Well, that'll be coming up in June anyway.
No, that's what Rick explained, but I
Yeah,
just want to
due
make
to
sure that
appointments.
I'm caught up, and I know, I want to hit the ground running. So I want to at least know what's happening, what's taking place. I'm pretty sure even when I go through my head that I pretty much know what committees are where and who's been on them and things of that nature. And then I think too, I have to become better educated, so I think I'll come up and see you about the talent bank as well.
Sure.
Just see who's in there, how long they've been there.
We can get you that list also.
Okay, I'd like that. Thank you.
It's an interesting question. I just thought of it as Will was talking. I thought about it, thinking about it from the perspective of a new member, and maybe some onboarding and some information. He's asking for education. That's a good way to put it. It may not be clear to any new member, and maybe getting a complete list of all appointments by the Board of Selectmen, not only to committees, but just all direct appointments. You know, what their status is in terms of contract, if they have a contract, if it's at will, it's at will. There are a variety of statuses. It isn't necessarily a sure thing that any member would walk in and know these are the people that
Oh, sure,
work.
absolutely, yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
you know, that'd be good for all of us to get an update and refresh on that list. Thank you. It's a good suggestion.
Anything else, Bill?
No, that's it, thank you.
Okay, we have an item of correspondence from the Metro West Regional Transit Authority. They've apparently voted unanimously to approve Milford's request to become a member of the authority, and it looks as though the chief elected executive is the municipality's representative to the advisory board, but I may in writing appoint a designee to act for him and her on the advisory board. So I'm gonna consider that and maybe take some action. Do you know when that next meeting is, Rick, of these?
I
this group?
do not, I will get that.
All right,
Yes.
okay. All right, so that's just something we'll put on hold for now. Other correspondence that we have the Office of the Town Manager of Northbridge thanking the Milford Police Department for the invaluable assistance they provided during Corporal John Dawson's funeral services last week. It was most appreciated. And also, he thanks the Milford Highway Department for allowing us to borrow 3 of their lighted signboards. And the equipment was urgently needed and immediately put to good use. All the support received from surrounding communities and beyond allowed the town of Northbridge to support the Dawson family and provide our soldier with a proper and touching farewell. So, very good to the police, highway, and anyone else who assisted in that. And that's it. Is there any items you want to address, Bill, or?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. When the Insurance Advisory Board was before us, I had asked for some information, and if it was possible to run an analysis and determine what our spend is relative to insurance for our employees, and also what the impact of that insurance, what the impact of that is on the employees, and then that in comparison with the state's GIC program, which we don't participate in. So first of all, I want to thank Kelly Capisi and the Insurance Advisory Committee for doing that analysis. It was timely, it was quick. I got the information back. You know, this is great information, and I think it shows that how hard our Insurance Advisory Committee is working and how competitive Milford's rates are. I'm not saying they're good rates. What I'm saying is relative to what we're paying compared to GIC, I think we compare pretty favorable. And my suggestion, Mr. Chairman, is this go out to all the collective bargaining groups. I think it's just important that the different groups and our different employee groups have an opportunity, not just through the Insurance Advisory Committee, where they may have attendance and may not, but also show how we compare against GIC. And I think it gets critical review during that process as well. In addition, more sets of eyes by the different labor groups. But you know, the message here is thank you for getting back to me, to the IAC and the Insurance Advisory Committee. Very helpful and informative.
Yes, I saw this, and I saw the considerable savings that could be achieved. And, you know, I kind of initially just went through the plan benefits, and there's a lot of similarity in that. So, you know, this might be something to visit the next time that we have to offer enrollments.
Yeah, I think it's important that different groups get an opportunity to see how we compare various groups and benchmarks.
Okay. So we have, what, about 11 unions, I think, 11 plus unions, so if we can send it out to them. Do you have anything else, Will?
No, I should mention that also that I think this is pretty good. I mean, I'm obviously a member of the GIC and have been for some time. And I appreciate the benchmark plan that they used. However, there's 11 plans, and you know, it is interesting how if you're, depending on what stage of life you're in, you can certainly, you know, be a lot cheaper than what they're comparing here, as well as pay more. With my son, we have to have the top one that they say only 1% goes into because it costs a fortune.
Yes.
But I can go anywhere in the world and I'm covered and things of that nature. But there are other plans that where you utilize your community hospital, which Milford is one. That's one of their most inexpensive plans, and it's interesting to see all 11 plans. So I guess, though I appreciate what you said, Bill, I also appreciate that
There's other
Brian,
plans.
well, Brian saying that we bring this, it's definitely worth having the discussion.
Deeper discussion,
With
sure.
the full array of plans.
Good.
I think them using what they did for a benchmark made a lot of sense.
Okay.
And I think it was good work. It's just, you know,
There's more plans.
there are. I mean,
Okay.
if you're a healthy
I
25-year-old
don't know.
police officer, you pay substantially less if you don't want to go to Brigham and Women's or Mass General, but you still can go to Children's and Beth Israel and St. Elizabeth. But you make an agreement to always go to Milford first. There's,
You know, and
there's
that's-
different things there. So.
According to this, you know, possible savings for the town could be $1.1 million.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should look at it.
So let's
That's
get
in
it
part
out
why I
there.
wanted to get it out there.
Yeah, let's get it out there and
Maybe savings
maybe
to-
for consideration, the next round,
To all
that
groups.
there's an insurance sign-up. Okay, with that, we do not have an executive session tonight. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made, is there a
Second.
second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you and good night.